Chad Reznicek is the behavioral health specialist with CSU Extension and the Colorado AgrAbility Project, committed to helping expand and improve behavioral health support and resources in rural communities. Prior to joining the AgrAbility team, Chad spent 20 years as a licensed therapist, providing behavioral health services in diverse settings with special focus areas in suicide prevention, trauma, mood disorders, and substance abuse. Both of Chad's parents were raised on farms, and he grew up in a small town in central Nebraska with a deep respect for agriculture as the heart of our field communities. So, thanks, Chad.
Thanks, everyone. I'll make this quick because I know we're a little bit over time. But first off, can we give Jess and her team a hand for So I want to talk just a little bit about the human element of this, and I appreciate everyone coming together and our amazing speakers, Bill and Ian. Appreciate your time. Everyone else has contributed to this. It's pretty amazing. And it is definitely one of the things we've been asked about a ton lately is what are some resources we can bring into Drought offerings and presentations. So I want to talk just briefly about some internal and external resources to try to promote resilience. I am funded by the Farm Ranch Stress Assistance Network. This came out of the 2018 Farm Bill. I have the honor and privilege of working across all these green states, and this territory goes clear out to the Pacific territories. So whether I'm talking to organic diversified vegetable growers in the Pacific Northwest, or taro and quail farmers in Guam, or producers all over Colorado, even if the challenges are different, the scales are different, the products, the inputs and outputs and all that look a little bit different. At the end of the day, everyone's facing growing pressures, asked to do more with less, and trying to hold on to the human element in this, and also remembering why they're not just giving up and going and working at a different occupation. It's part of identity. It's part of this connection to land, which is deep-seated and worth honoring, and everything that we can possibly do to support that. We know from interviewing about 800 Western region producers, the top 3 reported stressors were workload, lack of time, and financial worries. Probably not anything surprising for this crew, and those are on normal years. So then this year, you guys have already seen these, so I'm not going to go into them. Some we've seen exactly, but all of it to say it's not great. There's just even more chainsaws that everyone's juggling this year. So here we are. What can we do with that? So there's so many factors beyond people's control in agriculture in general. So it makes sense to zero in on what do you have influence, agency, and the ability to stack the odds in your favor to whatever degree that's possible. And a lot of what's been discussed today are little things around that exact process. Where can you make systematic investments or shifts with our long-term goals in place and not responding out of mood, energy level, and fear? And in my understanding, it doesn't matter whether we're talking about soil conservation or preservation of our own mental well-being. Once we get stressed, our best creative problem solving goes out the window. There's a survival mechanism reason for that in terms of fight or flight was never intended to help us deal with long-term chronic stress. And the brain is more interested in finding patterns. It doesn't care if those patterns are correct. So if we've been told all winter drought's going to be horrible, our brain knows that and it keeps looking for ways to reinforce that. If we can keep that in check, understand, yes, it is going to be bad, and we need to look at options. We need to look at other things we can do. The more we can train our brains to do that, the better we can keep our best problem solving intact. And the other may not be, small comfort as we stand right now, but every bit of challenge our species has faced since we've been on this planet has resulted in innovation, tighter connections, and the ability to better withstand what came before us. And so the key to allowing that to happen are a couple things. One, our internal resources, how we deal with our own stress levels, and our external resources, which is how much we connect with each other through the course of these challenges. With the Colorado AgrAbility Project, we've been in place in Colorado for just around 30 years. Our historic focus has been on helping people overcome accidents, illnesses, injuries, adversity, and possible physical conditions that can derail them from agriculture. So we have rural rehabilitation specialists that will go out to someone's farm or ranch, spend the day with them, look at how they approach their chores, and make recommendations for assistive technology or adaptive equipment so they can continue in this most important occupation. About 5 years ago, we expanded specifically to the behavioral health part, and that's where I came on. We now have a decent team, and we try to focus on a spectrum of services. We do preventive education, like just getting out to ag organizations, talking about stress management, different ways of being able to take care of yourselves. We do community skill trainings, which are around teaching community members how to recognize and respond to signs of behavioral distress amongst each other before it reaches a crisis stage. And then we also train therapists to work with people in agriculture, so the dairy farmer isn't gathering the courage to go speak with someone that can offer professional help, and they advise them to take a 2-week vacation. So we want to make sure that they're tuned into agriculture. And then we also, as Retta mentioned early on in this, there's the Colorado Agricultural Addiction and Mental Health Program that gives 10 free therapy sessions for anyone involved in Colorado agriculture. POMIT is one of our community skill trainings. It's a 90-minute training, and it recognizes that all of us operate on the spectrum from wellness to crisis. We know each other, we know each other's patterns, and so if someone's not showing up to coffee, to be able to just ask, hey, I've noticed you haven't been showing up for the last couple of weeks, just curious how you're doing, how you're really doing. That ability to look out for one's neighbor is so hardwired into rural values, and yet we can sometimes, when people really need it, be afraid that I'm stepping on someone's toes. I don't want to meddle, I don't want to come off as gossip, and my encouragement is err on the side of giving a damn and err on the side of rustling some feathers if you want, but let people know that you care and you value them. Those are two of the biggest things we can do to reduce risk factors related to self-harm, suicide, depression, all sorts of things. I won't go into this for the sake of time, but this is where we train. We've trained about 400 counselors around the country to work better with people in agriculture. And one of the things we tie into this is the notion of an aerial photo. So in the first therapy session, we're asking therapists to have a producer either draw on a piece of paper or pull up on Google Maps their operation. Say, walk me through a typical day. What are your pain points? What are the parts that give you a sense of meaning and purpose? I don't have to be an expert in soybean production, but if I have general humility and curiosity around what does a day look like for the average person? And now this year, what does this spring look like compared to last spring's in terms of water management and all these other principles? This is the 10 free sessions for anyone involved in agriculture. You don't have to be an owner operator, but if you contribute to Colorado agriculture in any way, you qualify for this service. All of our therapists are trained and dedicated to working with people in agriculture, and there's little green cards over here that have all of these resources I'm going to share with you. So you're welcome to grab those. You all look like an incredibly resilient and well-adjusted bunch. So I'm not in any way insinuating that you may need professional behavioral health services, but carry the cards. You may run into someone that does. Since at the end of March of this year, we've provided 1,340 hours of free therapy for around 280 Coloradans through this program, which is pretty amazing. There's 15 states that have similar programs. For one of the newer ones, we've got amazing utilization, which is also a great sign that stigma is reducing. And we've got really incredible partners like all of us across Extension, Department of Ag, Rocky Mountain Farmers Union, Colorado Farm Bureau houses this program. So happy to be able to share that. Show of hands, who's heard of Farm Aid? Who's heard of Willie Nelson? Okay. So Willie Nelson, Neil Young, John Cougar Mellencamp all decided to start this organization called Farm Aid to be able to promote awareness and policy recommendations for people in agriculture. They just this last year had, I think, their 35th anniversary concert. They also have a hotline you can call into. And if you go to their website, you can click interest in whatever resources you want to learn about, whether that's soil conservation, beginning farmer resources, legal advocacy, whatever it may be. In about 2 days, they'll send you a personalized report based on the geographic range that you want information within. So that's kind of cool. And then if people call into Farm Aid, they need help finding behavioral health resources, particularly in states that don't have ag voucher programs. They're offered to have me follow up with them. I'll do the footwork to figure out who's available in their insurance network if they have that, in terms of who's a good clinical match, and if possible, who also understands agriculture. But they're a fantastic resource. If you're with someone you're concerned, or you know someone you're concerned about, a really easy number to remember is 988. If you just have this gut feeling that something's going on with my farmhand or my neighbor and I just can't shake it, you can call these guys and just talk through that. They're here to help. You don't have to be struggling, wondering whether or not you're hanging on by a thread to call these guys. If you're concerned about someone else, they can give you some guidance. We also have the AgriStress helpline, which is available not all the way across the country, but in the green states, Colorado is included. The downside here is it's not easy to remember like 988, but it's the exact same services, exact same resources with the added layer that all the call operators have been trained to work and dedicated to working with people in agriculture. That number, if you don't want to write this down or put it in your phone because you may need it to help someone else, is also on those green cards as well. And that's it. Most important, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Next year, maybe it'll be better. Maybe we'll see a bunch of rain. Agriculture is one of those occupations absolutely grounded in hope. And so do not lose that through the course of this. So you'll come out on the other side with stories to tell, support to be able to offer the next generation. But in the meantime, look out for each other. And there's quite a bit of talk about moisture sensors. Be aware of your own sensor, your own check engine light. Don't ignore it. Don't throw your work gloves over the dashboard to hide that. Pay attention to that. We need you all out there operating at your best. So thank you so much for everything that y'all do. Appreciate you.
Great, that was great. Does anyone have any questions for Chad?
Oh, yes, sir.
Hi.
Yeah, so this 10 session, so you have to be an ag. So if my first cousin's wife's husband has a farm, does that qualify? You see what I'm saying? What is that?
Yeah, that's a good question. When we first started, we were like, are you pro ag? you like,
Yeah.
not to be naked, sober, or hungry. If so, yes, you can do it. So we, unfortunately, 2 weeks ago, we lost our state funding for this. We still have grant fundings and we've got a plan to keep it going for another year and we'll keep working. So we have to be a little bit more judicious about how we use it. So right now, the idea is if you are a family member, we would even consider like a grandchild of a farmer or rancher that you would qualify. If you contribute to agriculture, maybe you drive a feed truck, work at a feed store, do any of these different support roles that help in the technical, we call it ag adjacent, you qualify. So we're just trying to make sure that we can get as many people access to the program while being good stewards of the funds.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions?
And that's all telehealth. It's all set up to be telehealth right now. If we can get some more funds to make it in person, we will work towards that. But right now it's set up to be as user friendly as possible. And a lot of our providers will work with someone like while they're actually just pulled over in their truck on the side of their field. Sometimes they can still be safe and operate higher profile equipment while they're doing it. We want to make it as flexible and so that you don't have to park your pickup with a dented in quarter panel and your blue healer in the back right in front of the local mental health clinic in your small region. We like to be confidential. We support y'all getting help and we want to allow it to be at your pace and your time. So